Okay, shall I start? Okay, my name is Hugo. I come from Portugal.
And I am not from Lisbon, I'm from Leiria, which is a small city nearby Lisbon. I went to Lisbon to study acting in a theatre school, and I graduated in acting.
When we talked to our parents saying that we were going to Shanghai, the immediate reaction from my mother was, really? Such a strange country.
It would be interesting for us to try to get something from this culture. And one of the most important things for us as creators is to try to engage with the reality. The feeling that you never get what you expect because you always project an image of a city before you go there. And when I got here, it was absolutely different from what I expected. And then the fact that now we are getting the chance to get closer to some Chinese people that can tell us about their lives a bit, that is amazing, because then you get a reality from the first person, from a reality that we are not familiar with. When we collect, we take pictures from random people or some situations that get our attention, and then we work on these pictures by creating a story, a soul, a moment for that person's life, which is not real, it's fiction. Some stories come from people we really have the opportunity to meet and that show us a bit of their lives. Of course, this is not a documental process, so we are not acting as journalists writing about their real stories. We'll take these elements and bring it to a fiction story as well, to a more poetic perspective.
We are collecting all this footage, and some of them we are creating time lapses. With the time lapses, I was creating this like a puzzle, where you can see the very different images, like you were in very different places in the same time.
I'm Yan Preston. Yan is my Chinese name, it means rock. Preston is my British surname that I got from my British husband. I was born in China. I actually lived in Shanghai for 8 years for my university. I studied clinical medicine. In 2005, when I moved to England to live with my husband, I wanted to take the opportunity of a new life to do something that I really wanted to do for a long time, so I decided to call myself a photographer. And I'm returning to China to do a project that I've been thinking for a few years, which is to photograph the Yangtze River, the mother river of China, from the source to the sea at a very precise interval of every 100 kilometers. When I was in England, I was obviously homesick. I was thinking about China a lot. I wanted to understand China with my new learned career, which is photography. But how to do it? And the Yangtze River, it's a real river, but when you are so far away from it, it becomes a symbol.
My name is Brad Gray. I'm from England, but I live in South Africa. Been there 10 years, and as a practicing artist, for the last 10 years I've been doing that and providing a living for my family and living out in the countryside well away from the art scene. And yeah, just enjoying the environment between these two lakes with the forest behind and the sea, and very different from here. But I've always had this idea of celebrate diversity and have as many experiences as you can in life, and each time you draw from it. And ultimately it all goes into the canvas. Yep, so I have a family in Xi'an. My wife's from Ireland, and we've got 3 kids, and she's a teacher of art and drama. So they're all there now, and when I conclude here, I go and join them. My wife felt like getting back into academia. She's there now, teaching, and finding it tough. She's been in Xi'an now for 2 months, and I've been here for just over 3 weeks. And I'm here for 5 months in total. The goal, for being in China, really, we've fancied a change. I mean, South Africa, we've been there 10 years. That's the longest we've ever lived anywhere. Before that, we're in Saudi Arabia, and then in Ireland, and I've travelled a lot. So the economic climate had hit quite hard in South Africa as well. So we thought, well, here would make a difference. And to show our kids a new corner of the world. I mean, it's so diversely different from where we live. So there's that. Then the emerging art scene here is huge. It's booming. So we thought we'd try and get into that as well. And then we can also travel more. This is spectacular. It's a magic space to create in, and I'm really enjoying mixing with all the other artists and sharing ideas about all sorts of things, not just art. People are often judgmental about appearance, whereas animals' nature isn't. Like dogs, horses, they seem to sense your essence of who you are. So in this case, the bird has chosen to alight on his shoulder, and it's bursting forth with song, releasing like this inner kind of joy, and it's sparking something in him, the crack of the smile appearing, which is quite enigmatic. The feelings I'm feeling here, the chaos, the intrigue, it's all in there. Like this robot here, it's got a heaviness, like a weighty heaviness. That's industry. So he's got the coal burning away in his hands, much like the beating heart of all these ships that, the beating heart of China's passing us every day, all day long, all night long, with these coal barges and barges carrying gravel. I mean, the Chinese are all over the world selling art big time, and we come here and it's like, no, unless you're Chinese, then we're not really interested. That's the feeling I'm getting at the moment. But I think it's a case of, people keep saying this is the next New York. It's still coming out of one phase and about to move into another. And you can't keep excluding foreigners from an art scene because it should transcend national boundaries. So I think ultimately it's going to work.
Well, my name is Jordi Fornies. I am from Tarragona, which is a city south of Barcelona, in Spain. And then, I moved to Shanghai from Dublin. I actually moved to Dublin 8 years ago. Well, I'm a painter. I don't really know what to say about me apart from that. That I also am trying to do some music and composing music at the same time that I'm painting. I study piano piano for many, many years, and I always feel passion for music, and actually my composition, I try to record sounds of me painting and brushes and things like that, and then making harmonic sounds, like if you create instruments with those sounds. But my passion is painting. Yeah. So, well, obviously as an artist, you really hope that your work is valued, in the sense that I'm not talking about on monetary, value of it, but also, the value of the work that you do and make a living from it. So obviously we all want that, and that's what ideally I would like to. So obviously more representation in galleries and doing more work, so that allows me to do more work and show what I paint. No, I don't like it. I probably will, I don't know. Just and being in residency with other artists is also the way that you learn from other people and other disciplines, and that also, I think that artists, they need to be more open to learn from other artists and discuss things, and I found this very interesting since I arrived. I mean, I paint trees, a lot of trees, and there's a lot of discussion about why you paint trees and why I don't move from trees. And trying to push myself to go away from painting trees. This is a battle between me and another artist in here. Yeah, stop. I'm happy now. Yeah. Perfect.
My name is Lily Chin. I'm from Brooklyn, New York. I grew up in Oregon, in the States, and then I moved to Singapore, and then I moved to New York City, and I've been there for a really long time. And I've been in Shanghai for 4.5 months, and I've had a really good time so far. So yeah. I speak a little bit of Chinese, 一点点. So being in Shanghai is interesting for me because it's like a switch. I can turn it on, but when I turn it on, it's like, it's not very easy to turn it on. And then I turn it off and I switch back to English, and it's very fluent. Since I've been here, I've improved a lot. My Mandarin's improved. Well, I think the most inspiring thing in Shanghai for me is what happens on the streets. In a way, I feel that the Chinese people, they are very persistent, and they are very resourceful in terms of how they survive. And that means, anything from trash or, changing the use of something. A chopstick, for example, or, twigs and turning it into a broom. They have to improvise with what they have, because what they have is limited. And I'm going to send this to Gitta Gsell, which is a city in China where they do a lot of porcelain. And I'm going to have it fired at a really high temperature to make this translucent.
I am Veskin Mardikian. I am from Belgium, and I've been living 5 years in the United States, 2 years in, a little bit more than 2 years in Seoul, in Korea, South Korea, and here I am in Shanghai. I studied as an undergrad, I studied classical piano, and I moved to painting later. My mother, she's a painter, my father is an architect, so visual art was somehow in the family. So naturally I went back to visual art. In grad school I've been doing other things. I don't consider myself as a painting, like a painter, but painting has been the most consistent, I would like to say, consistent activity for me, and the most, how to say, yes, I try to have fun with the medium somehow. More about the ideas than the medium itself, but I cannot get out of the painting process. To show you a painting for 2004, this is a wallpaper, and somehow because of the texture of the wallpaper, it looked like how to say, like a control camera when they are not working, so they don't have images. So that was doing that, and what I was interested is like when you see this, I don't draw anything, this is the texture of the wallpaper, and it's referred to like surveillance camera, you know, the footage of a... So I like this idea of you are doing something or you don't draw anything because you find a texture. When you make the painting, you refer to something else.
I'm Nachi Canto, Brazilian. I studied culinary arts, but from the first beginning, I knew I wouldn't become a chef. It was not my intention. I was always curious about things, and I was not searching for things that would label me. So, and then things just started happening when I went back to Brazil, because I had a lot of things with me, and then I could offer something. And then I started being part of the art community, like participating some prizes and focusing a lot on that. And 3 years ago, I started being represented by a kind of important gallery in Brazil. So my work basically is more about how I live my experience here. And I started questioning how difficult it is to put all the things from China together like a puzzle, because it's such a diverse country, and at the same time they have this idea of collectiveness that in the Western world we always want to be unique. We want to be an individual. Well, my project is basically about fake and original, and the idea of intellectual property, because intellectual property is something that it started to exist when people started to think of making profit, making money. So this is mine, my idea, it belongs to me. If you want to use it, you have to pay for it. You cannot copy my idea. So this is something very Western. And here in China, it's collective. It's like your idea is our idea. It's not embarrassing to copy things. Art is a combination of copying things, transforming them into something new. And it's really impossible nowadays to be original. So somehow you are always going to copy something, even if you don't know. Because if there was no Duchamp, yes, maybe there wouldn't be conceptual art.
My name Chandan. My name Chandan. I'm from Vietnam. And I studied architect university, but when I stopped my university so soon, and I learned drawing. I studied about fine art myself. Yes, because I have some friend, and I invite they come to my small studio, and I learn from them about the technique, fine art technique. Yes, yes, all right.
My name is Tarek Arnautovic, and I'm from Denmark, or I've been living in Denmark since I was 10 years old. I came from Bosnia Herzegovina to Denmark during the Civil War. I work as a digital designer, which is doing graphics basically for websites, iPad apps, iPhone apps, all sorts of graphics, also like print stuff, advertising. And besides this, I try to find something that I could do that is a bit more analog, just to get away from the computer. And I started drawing these patterns and interesting shapes and stuff, and then once decided to try to make an animal out of it for a Christmas thing, a Christmas poster with the deer actually. And so it kind of came out really nice, and people asked if they can buy this poster. So the thought of making more and more of these animals and starting to make like a poster company out of it. I don't really do any advertising anywhere, but I use Facebook as the main tool of me communicating to the people that buy my stuff, and to do lots of marketing and yeah, just online marketing of my stuff. And that's primarily like the only channel where people kind of can interact with me and see the stuff that I'm working on, and I always try to kind of keep them involved and enrolled. I have this page where I have about 5,300 people that like my stuff, and it's like some of the stuff that I do. For example, I choose some of the animals that I think could be interesting, and then I put them on the web page of Facebook, and I make a little competition saying like, okay, help me out to choose 5 of the next animals that I will draw. And then people get really involved in it and start to kind of set some votes on which animals, and then they have this feeling that they are part of the process, and I really like that, because then for me it's pretty awesome to know which animals people mostly like, and for them it's pretty cool that they have been a part of the decision. So also I had this big campaign in Denmark where I sold 700 posters on the campaign side. So when they were packed, I posted a picture of like saying, okay, now they're packed and ready to come up. So if you don't receive yours in about like a week or something, please mail me because something went wrong, because everybody should have gotten theirs in for a week. Yeah, so I start to just scan the unicorn, and then I just start drawing lines with the pen tool in Illustrator, and just kind of, yeah, I make the pen red or something just to kind of see I can draw, and then I just start to draw these lines again. So this is like a really long process of that takes hours and hours, because it's so you just have to keep going and just at the end then it looks like this, where I covered it all, and then if you turn out the one behind, then you can see I actually made the eyes a bit different. Eyes are more bigger because my people on Facebook said like I should have bigger eyes and stuff. I just draw it into the black, and then I added just to make it feel, because the head was so thin and the spear and stuff, so it was not that wide on the poster. So I just added this kind of thing to make it flow out a little bit and make it more.
So this is Javier Viver. I come from Spain. What else? I used to work with several medias as photography. I think, in fact, that all my work has an origin in the photography. I think that it is the media, I mean the photography and all the images, the film and this kind of things. I think that this is the media that we have now. I have here a couple of printing proof, because it is a project about an iconography archive in Paris in the 19th century, which is called the Salpêtrie. It is a hospital, a mental hospital. So I have collected all the images to do this book. Yeah, and now I am using all this archive to print on the canvas, and also I try to paint, to manipulate the images with painting or doing another things, which is my way to say something about the documents, to put my part in this archive.
Okay, finish. My name Shang Chengxiang from Shenyang. I want to make 7.